The National Medal for Museum and Library Services is the nation's highest honor for libraries and museums that are serving their communities in exceptional ways. National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library President and CEO Gail Naughton and community member Bob Schaffer traveled to Washington from Cedar Rapids, Iowa to receive the National Medal and spoke to IMLS about how the museum impacts the community.
The National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library was founded in about 1978. We serve a broad-based community. Of course, we have the Cedar Rapids community. We have the founders, the people of Czech and Slovak heritage. But in a city of Cedar Rapids size, which is about 125,000, maybe a larger metro area of about 250,000, we're a very important part of the cultural community. We are an anchor cultural institution. But then we're a national museum, and so we have a national audience across the country. Czech Village is an ethnic, commercial district where all the people would come into town to do their business. They'd come in to bring in their things to sell, and they would come in to buy the things they needed for the next week. They'd probably stop in and have a little drink. They'd meet their friends. So it was a commercial area, and it was also, I think, a social magnet.
Well, that little commercial district in Cedar Rapids, the Czech Village, had kind of fallen on decline as the heavy industry of Cedar Rapids declined, jobs went away. That first generation of immigrants aged, their kids went off to school, oftentimes didn't come back. And that's when we bought our little building that used to be a pharmacy from 1901. So we bought that in 1975, opened up the store, pretty quickly got drafted into the effort to revitalize this Czech Village.
Well, Czech Village was really part of why the museum exists. This is the area, this is the base, this is why they built a museum. So it's a very close relationship. You know, we work together on things and try to, you know, improve, both of us try to improve each other. The flood of June 2008 came about from a terrible winter. We knew there'd be flooding, but there'd been flooding, you know, when you have a river running through town.
Oh, that flood was one of those amazing events. They had talked about the chance of flooding, but, you know, weren't quite sure how bad it would be. And sure enough, it inundated the whole neighborhood, you know, multi-block area. And you could imagine that jumble after we came back into the building. It was a very surreal image with shelving kind of tilted at odd angles. But strangely, some things through, you know, the surface tension of water were just stuck to the shelves at an angle about like this.
There were very difficult times in the very beginning in getting back into the building, checking on artifacts that we hadn't removed to see if, you know, what was safe, what was damaged. The building needed to get cleaned out so that mold didn't get in, you know, into the building. That was our big concern. It was obvious quickly that we had, you know, massive damage that was going to cost millions of dollars to fix. And I say that on one side, but on the other side, we never hesitated. We never hesitated. We were always going to come back. There were lots of decisions to make to get there, but we were always going to come back. We found out very early that it couldn't be a museum again where it stood. We couldn't insure our artifacts. We couldn't insure anyone else's artifacts that would come from another museum. And in the end, we actually moved it. We lifted it up, and we moved it about 480 feet and lifted it up 11 feet higher than it sat when it was flooded.
The relationship, I think, between the Czech Village and the museum has always been a great one, and one that's, I think, has been not only self-supporting, and we always felt that, and that was one of the main reasons why it was pushed to open up a museum, was not only to preserve that culture, but also to give visitors to the area something more to do than just shop. People want it all. You know, they want the full experience. They would like to see a museum, but they also want to shop, they want to eat, they want to taste every facet of the culture.
The flood of 2008 changed the museum in dramatic ways. Our mission had been more about being the premier museum and library, about history and culture of the Czechs and Slovaks in the United States. But we dug down deeper into coming with a mission that was to inspire people of all backgrounds. It's about Czech and Slovak history and culture, but it's about American too. It's about being an American. So we want people to take the stories, to get the lessons and the values out of the struggles for freedom and identity and family, community, human dignity that these people have had, and learn from it.